this meeting to order. Please stand for the salute to the flag. Here. Mrs. Cullen? Here. Mrs. Dolan? Here. Mrs. Kildare? Mr. Krause?
Here.
Mrs. Miller?
Here.
Mrs. Walters?
Here.
Mrs. Yardley?
Here.
Dr. Yarnell?
Here.
Student and staff recognition.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I see we have some new faces here this evening. My name is Jacqueline Radigan, the superintendent here at Pennridge. And at the beginning of each meeting, we typically will announce people, whether they are staff or students, who are doing wonderful, wonderful things in our community. So I'd first like to introduce and bring up Krista Rush, a first grade teacher at Guth. I think she may have some of her students here with her that may be joining her. If they want to come up as well and stand in the front. And Mr. Matt Smith, the principal, is here, and then I'll tell you why they are here tonight. Okay, thanks to the leadership and enthusiasm of Krista Rush, her students earned recognition as a top 10 classroom in the EPIC 2018 Spring Into Reading Challenge. During the one-week national contest that included thousands of elementary schools, her students read an amazing 4,458 books online. It was literally an epic accomplishment. I would like Krista to take a moment to explain to you a bit more about the positive effect EPIC has had on her students' love of reading. Krista.
Good evening. It is my pleasure to introduce to you the first graders from Guth Elementary School. These awesome kids took part in EPIC's Spring Reading Challenge. EPIC is a digital library for kids with thousands of engaging books to read on iPads and computers. These first graders were challenged to read as many books as they could in 1 week. We had teachers sharing iPads so we could read throughout the day, and the support from their families so they could read on EPIC all night long. Maybe too long? EPIC had a live website during the challenge showing the schools that were reading for the top 10 spots. At one point, the race was so close, I asked the class if they wanted to keep going, and their answer was always, yes! They certainly showed perseverance. The first graders would like to share with everyone their exciting news. Woo. With the amount of 4,458 books read in 1 week, these first graders placed 8th in the country for the EPIC Challenge and the only Pennsylvania school in the top 10. I know for sure they have made us all Pennridge proud and have a bright future ahead of them. Congratulations, first graders. Don't ever stop reading.
That's it. Just come over. We don't need the signs now. You just need your smiley face. Hold on. Yep.
That's it. That's it. Matt, you do the bookends on there. Okay, put your signs down, okay? And there you go. We want to see your thing. All right, here we go. On three. 1, 2, 3. And another one. Perfect.
Great job, everybody.
Okay, at this time, may I please have Cross Edwards, Sam Pellegrino, and Casey Carte to the front.
Crosses at volleyball.
Ah. Cross is playing volleyball. The team is doing terrific.
Maybe go on to the next one. I don't know if they heard or go on to the next one. We'll see if we can find
Go on.
it.
All right, we'll come back to that one. Okay, next up, we have our Technology Student Association. Is Nick Alvarez here and Brandon Lindley? Here they come. Okay, gentlemen, if you'll stand here in the front. Nick Alvarez and Brandon Lindley competed against students from 70 other school districts at the TSA State Conference. Nick and Brandon took first place in the technology problem-solving category and qualified for the national conference in Atlanta next month. Congratulations to Nick and Brandon. Gentlemen, come up, please. Tonight we have the honor of recognizing 4 students. Please raise your hand when I say your name. Troy Glendenning, Michael Ibrahim, Kevin Hersberger, and Peter Hersberger. They have already completed Army basic training between their junior and senior years of high school. Troy and Michael are currently serving in the National Guard, and Peter and Kevin are in the Army Reserves. Troy, Kevin, and Peter have already attained the rank of private first class, while Michael is still a private because he started 6 months later than the other 3. All 4 men will begin their advanced individual training soon after graduation. Gentlemen, your commitment to serving our country is truly humbling. To enter basic training at such a young age and survive the grueling requirements is a reflection of your character and tribute to your family. Now, as you move forward in your military career, we wish you good luck and Godspeed. Wherever the adventure takes you, please know that our thoughts and prayers will be with you every step of the way. Let's congratulate these young men. That was Assistant Principal Nick Schoonover and some of their leaders here with them tonight. Next, may we have Daniel Walker and James Morrison. Okay, raise your hand so the crowd can see you. We have musicians Daniel Walker. Oh, you're not the same person. Daniel Walker and James Morrison, who represented the district last month at the 2018 Pennsylvania Music Educators Convention and All-State Music Festival. Daniel, a tenor, performed with the All-State Choir. James played the trumpet in the All-State Concert Band. Along with other musicians from around the state, Daniel and James rehearsed Thursday and Friday with a culminating performance on Saturday. Last fall, both students auditioned for their respective performing groups and ranked high enough to become members of the PMEA District 11 Chorus and Band. Since then, they both have advanced to the regional and now state level. So well done, Daniel and James.
That's all right, Phil, don't worry. Good, all right, thank you.
Can we go that way?
Joining them were their directors, Mr. Steve Mosser and Mr. Kevin Fair. Okay, go back to the other group, Mr. Ferry?
Yeah.
All right. It was Cross, Sam, and Casey.
Right, for the H&R Block Challenge.
Are they here?
Looks like
No?
they must be studying.
They're studying. All right, well, maybe we'll get them next month.
Okay.
Okay. I think that'll do it for this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Radigan. Okay, next we have public comment. The Pennridge School Board welcomes public comment. According to Policy 903, we remind everyone of the following. Public comment shall be limited to 3 minutes unless otherwise specified by the board. Participants must be recognized by the presiding officer and note their name and municipality. All statements shall be directed to the presiding officer rather than to individual board members, district employees, or members of the public. A speaker may speak once during each public comment period. Please note that these sessions are designated for comments. To protect the confidentiality and privacy rights of all members of our community, the board encourages members of the public to direct any comments regarding particular individuals, such as students or district employees, privately to the superintendent or other appropriate administrators or board members, or to communicate with the board and superintendent privately by sending an email to psdschoolboard@pennridge.org. Questions raised and not addressed may be followed up at a later time. Mr. Perry's getting the sign-in sheet for us. I will try to address the questions and comments at the end of the comment period. Thank you, Mr. Ferry and Mr. Krause. Okay, first is Jane Phillips, PEA President.
Good evening. My name is Jane Phillips, and in a little over a month I will be finishing up my 28th year teaching at Robert B. Dibler Elementary School. For 26 of those years I have been the instructional support teacher. This year I am honored to be the president of the Pennridge Education Association. I am speaking tonight on behalf of the over 500 professional staff members who teach in our community's classrooms and work in our schools every day. I am proud to represent these dedicated teachers, nurses, counselors, psychologists, and social workers. We believe that Pennridge schools are the backbone of this community. The educational professionals of the Pennridge School District represent the core values of what makes public education so important to our society, namely, that we educate every child who walks through our doors to the best of our ability, and we work hard to ensure that all of our students are learning. This is our critical mission. Now, we all know that there are many varied challenges that face public education and educators, and this staff remains committed to our mission despite these challenges. We are currently in the process of negotiating a new contract with this board. It is our goal to have that new contract in place before the current contract expires on June 30th, 2018. The members of this association expect that the new contract will represent the fair market value of the teaching profession in our area. We understand that our work environment is where our students come to learn, which is why issues like prep time and class scheduling are important to us. We know that they directly impact the quality of education the children receive. We chose a career in education to help ensure that children receive the knowledge, skills, and abilities to achieve a bright and successful future. We love Pennridge. We appreciate the history of the community in which we work. Many of our members have chosen to live, work, and raise their families here. We look forward to continuing the negotiations process and strive for an agreement that is in the best interest of the families and the children we serve, the community, and the members we represent. Thank you.
Hello, I'm John Swarley from Hilltown Township, and I just very briefly wanted to address the last board meeting a little bit. Simply, with two non-agenda items that directly contributed to a change in solicitor and change in board president, with 3 votes that appeared to be blindside votes, only 2 board resignations. It was a difficult meeting to observe from my personal perspective. I have a great love for this community. I grew up in Pennridge. I chose to come back to raise my kids in Pennridge schools. And I'm very thankful for all the time that everyone, from the board members to teachers to staff, all put into making Pennridge what it is today. In the broader community, Upper Perk recently went through a very tumultuous time with their board as well. And I guess I'm just kind of speaking tonight to hope that at least on some of the big things we can see what would seem to be the need for better communication amongst the board. That's basically understood with humility and respect for all that we do, but also hoping that as leaders of our community, we can find a way to work together and make things work. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Kevin Foster.
Kevin Foster, Hilltown Township. So I'm a father, I'm a husband, and I'm a member of the Pennridge community. I've been a Republican, a Libertarian, and a Democrat. And I've stood before this board in the past and asked for its members to put politics aside, to operate in the best interests of our community and our students. And what I've seen occur in the last 8 weeks has caused me great concern. I've seen newly elected board directors rarely offer analysis, opinion, or show understanding of district issues in board and committee meetings. I've watched as 5 board directors who on average have 18 months of board experience between them remove a president who has over 8 years of board experience and a deep background as a public educator. I noticed that this vote occurred 1 meeting after support was expressed for students' ability to exercise their First Amendment rights. I read a statement that was released on behalf of this majority bloc, which references those same 5 board members. It's become evident that this bloc of members are predetermining board outcomes out of the view of the public with limited accountability. I've listened as curriculum recommendations are rejected with extremely troubling reasoning, lending credence to the theory that this bloc is censoring curriculum driven by political ideology. I've seen a board director and member of this bloc call the survivor of a school shooting a tyrant on Twitter and refer to over 100 Pennridge teachers as cowards in a public meeting. I have watched as public Facebook pages that follow this district refer to Pennridge students as underage clowns.
Excuse me.
And respond
Our
gleefully.
board policy requires you not attack individuals, so please
I
keep
haven't
your
mentioned
comments about any individuals.
any individuals. And respond gleefully to
You're
the
clearly
resignations.
referring to an individual.
I'll skip ahead then. But I know what an engaged community can do. I know that we as a community can be better than this. I know that there are community members in this audience that do care, that we should be better. I challenge us as a community to be engaged, ask questions, attend these meetings, attend committee meetings where the real decisions get made. In 2019, 5 out of these 9 board seats will be up for re-election. And those that share my concerns, reach out, get involved, talk to your neighbors, talk to the person sitting next to you in this audience. The time is now, and I really, truly believe that we can be better than this. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kian Rourke. I'm a Pennridge grad from 2014. I was heavily involved in the school and loved everything that the school had to offer. And as a now college grad, I've seen some troubling things over the past year from this school board, particularly involving the walkout on gun control. It really upsets me that students weren't able to show their disdain for the status quo, whether they agree in gun reform or not. I don't think that they were able to express their opinions, and I think that I was really ashamed by the Pennridge School Board when I saw that, and I really have a lot of pride for this school district and for the teachers and the memories that I have here, and it was really troubling to see this, to see students not be able to express themselves and express how they feel in times when it really concerns their security. And I think it was really a shame that the school board wasn't able to allow students to express themselves. And to see the kind of political mismanagement happening in the past 8 weeks is really concerning. And I'm really excited to vote in 2019 and for the future of this school and school board. Thank you very much.
I just want to note, thank you, Mrs. Phillips. The next 2 comments I'm going to address in my president's report, so hold on to those. And the last one regarding the student walkout, I just want to be clear that students were not punished for expressing their opinions. They were not allowed to leave the building, and that violated policy, and we were enforcing policy consistently across the board. And that has, we've kind of already issued that statement a bunch of times, so I won't get into that one again, but that, just to clarify. Next on the agenda is the acceptance of board member resignations. First, I need a motion to approve the resignation of Ada Miller as school board director effective June 19th, 2018. Okay. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Motion. Are there comments or questions from board members?
I would like to comment. Thank you. I'd like to extend a large thank you for the overwhelming support I've received with notes and calls and text from community members, from administrators from Pennridge School District, the Bucks IU, the technical schools, school board directors that I've worked with across the county, from parents, and community members. It's just been overwhelming. So I appreciate all your support. Thank you so much. And I'd also like to thank the students. I received notes of thank yous and support from the students, and I just want to say, hang tough, ignore the haters, and use your two strongest tools, your voice and your vote. Thank you. And I am abstaining from this vote.
Okay, do you have a comment?
Yeah, I just want to thank Mrs. Miller for her service for over 6 years serving the board. It's can be a difficult job at times, and so thank you for a job well done.
Okay,
Thank you, Mrs. Yard, I appreciate that.
Same, I would like to thank you, Ms. Miller, for your service to the board as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, I'll call the vote. Those in favor? Aye. Those opposed?
Nay.
Okay. Motion carries 6-2 with 1 abstention. Okay, the next motion is to approve the resignation of Christine Yardley as school board director effective June 19th, 2018. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second
Okay, motion is seconded. Comments or questions from board members?
And I'm coming right back at you, Mrs. Yardley. Thank you so much. Truly, it is a pleasure, and it's a pleasure walking out together. It's been a trying time. It's been a very difficult year, as I'm sure you can all imagine. It's been stressful. Every meeting has been stressful. It's been trying, I have to say. And I appreciate your strength, Mrs. Yardley, your leadership. I think you brought so many skills to this position and to this board. And it's a true loss to this district for you to walk away. So thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Miller. I wasn't planning on saying anything, but I first ran for the board in 2007, so I've been involved for over 11 years, but served 8.5 years. And I would just like to say I've worked, in my time on the board, my goal has always been to help the community and help the students. I've been an educator my entire life. So I always want to put the students first. I've also tried to be active and get people involved, and I just felt like for my family, the time was, time for me to end my service for the sake of my family. So it's time for other people to get involved, so that's what I would just say, to be involved and come to meetings and get out and vote and be involved, because one thing I guess I have to say about the school board, it's the people get more involved. Many more people vote in the presidential election and when the governor election and when it's a senator or a representative, and very few people vote in local elections. And the school board election is in an odd year, and usually it's under 20% of the people who vote. So, which is really a shame. So it's a very small percentage of people making the decisions, and then a lot of the decisions of the school board are what affects you the most. It has the most impact, the most direct impact on you, and it's where the fewest people vote. So hopefully, I said that my continued hope is that the decisions of the board benefit the entire community, benefit the students, benefit the entire community, and I'm hopeful for the future, and that I'd still say I'm hopeful for the future. So that's all. Thank you, and I will be abstaining.
Any other questions or comments from board members?
Again,
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I simply want to say thank you to both Mrs. Yardley and Mrs. Miller. I have appreciated your assistance and service on the board. I consider each of you friends, and that's a compliment. I hope you take it that way. If it isn't a compliment, Well, I'm sorry about that, but I still view it as something that I should say.
It's a compliment, I love you.
So, thank you very much. I look forward, hope you the best for both of you in the future. Thank you for the help.
Again, I just wanted to name your school. Okay, I'm going to call the vote. Those in favor?
Aye.
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 Those opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Okay, motion carries 6-2 with 1 abstention. Bills list, self-insurance bills list, food service bills list, student activities bills list, budget transfers, financial report, superintendent's personnel, and EDR reports. Do I have a motion? Okay. Second? Okay. Moved by Joan Cullen, seconded by Melissa Kildare. Any questions or comments from board members? Okay, then I'll call the vote. Those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries 9-0. Okay, next is our student liaison report.
Hi, my name is Sydney Herman. I'm the corresponding secretary here at Pennridge High School, and I'm a senior here at Pennridge High School. And I'm accompanied by Shay Bork here, who is a freshman and also in student council. So, student council on Friday, we are having sidewalk chalk day, where students can draw on the sidewalk with some chalk, as the name implies. I'm not sure if you saw the numbers when you all walked in, but that's what we're doing to prepare for our event. Hopefully it doesn't rain. We're very excited for that. Student council has also been involved in Pearl S. Buckhouse with their tea party and Taste of the World, which is this Friday. And from other clubs, Minithon, I believe, raised over $62,000 for 4 Diamonds, which helps pediatric cancer victims. Make sure that their families don't see a single bill from them staying at the hospitals, making sure that everything's okay and taken care of, so that's amazing. We're very proud of that. I'm trying to think of what else. Penn 18, Jani's acapella group, is going to have their concert this Friday, I believe at 7 o'clock. So that's very exciting. And I think that's about it. All right, that's it from us. So I'm a senior, so this is probably going to be my last meeting here on the board. So this has been, thank you. I started in August, and I had honestly no idea what the school board was about or what I would be doing. So this has certainly been an eye-opening experience, and I've learned a lot. So yeah, this has been a great opportunity for me. I've really grown as a person, and it's been amazing seeing how the school board works, and I really hope people get more involved. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Next up is the President's report. Members of the public, I know there are questions and in some cases allegations that either the school code or the Pennsylvania Sunshine Act were violated by the board's decision to undertake certain actions, including voting down the purchase of a textbook, changing the solicitor, and replacing the board president. None of those allegations are accurate. Members of the board are permitted to discuss, debate, and talk about issues involving the board so long as a quorum of the board does not do so. In point of fact, it is the responsibility of the board to remain engaged, to question and provide appropriate oversight. Concerns regarding all 3 of those items were raised with all board members and should not have been a big surprise. I will also add that the process provided to board members when I got on the board for getting items added to the agenda required us as board members to contact and get the support of 4 other board members in order to have something added to the agenda for discussion. I do not believe that is the best practice, and it gives the public the impression that things were already decided before a meeting. It is my intention to change that process to allow for more transparency. You may also have noticed that in an effort to provide more transparency to the public, all agenda items that the public should be privy to are now being posted with public access on board docs. Given that tonight's agenda does not include any confidential matters, the entire agenda and attached documents were made available to the public. This will also reduce the time and money spent on right-to-know requests because the information is already publicly available. The process for reviewing right-to-know requests has also been modified to reduce legal fees. Only requests made that have the potential for including confidential information will go through the solicitor instead of filtering all requests through the solicitor. In addition, all changes made to the board agenda after it's posted will be presented as a motion to amend the agenda at the very beginning of every meeting, so the public will be aware of all changes that have been made subsequent to them viewing it. With respect to the textbook, I would like to add some clarity. At the February 5th Curriculum Committee meeting, a social studies program improvement proposal was brought to the board. At the conclusion of the proposal, it became apparent that the one textbook had not yet been published and would not be available in either a digital or paper version until the spring. I asked how staff knew they liked it if it had not been published yet. It was then shared that the company had provided a sample module that would give an idea of essentially what one chapter or section would look like. When purchasing a newer version of a current text, the process is much more simplified and does not require access to the full text. The idea is, if we liked the old one, we would like the new one. The process for adopting a completely new textbook is much more rigorous and includes a more in-depth analysis and comparison of the text. All of this procedural information was not clear to all board members until after the curriculum meeting. It was my opinion, and apparently the opinion of many others on the board, that we should go through the full process of picking the best book available for our students, whether we like the former version or not. Keep in mind, in 11 years, there's a great deal of turnover in a company and a great deal of changes. I will also note that I personally voted against the new version of the Everyday Math for the same reason. It just went unnoticed because I was the only board member at the time to do so. I want to be clear that our curriculum and social studies departments followed what had been common practice for purchasing an updated version of a current textbook. I have a great deal of respect and trust in our administration and the professionals in this district. This was not a matter of trusting their opinions. This was a matter of providing them with the materials necessary to form those opinions. This was then added to the board agenda and subsequently removed when the text was not yet available. One copy of the text was made available days before the next board meeting to one board member. Since there had been no access for all other board members, it was tabled. After that meeting, the book was circulated amongst board members, and then an electronic copy was also made available. Once the text became available, it was clear that the new version was substantially different from the old one. When a motion is tabled, it should go back to committee. That did not happen, so no discussion took place. Instead, it was placed directly on the next board meeting agenda, at which time it was voted down. Once a motion is seconded, there is an opportunity for questions and comments before the vote. Instead, the meeting was opened up to comments and questions after the vote, which caused a breakdown in the process. When a motion is voted down, it dies. It does not go back to committee. There should have been a motion to table it or send it back to committee if that were the desired outcome. That being said, we do want students to have new resources. We just want to make sure they are the best resources out there. That is why the board decided to keep the money for the textbooks in the budget at the Finance Committee meeting. Dr. Scheid and Mr. Vaverka are evaluating the text with their team and plan to bring a proposal to the board in June. Regretfully, there were many factors that contributed to the escalation of the situation, and we are committed to working together as a team to improve the communication and board procedures. I will also note that the program improvement proposals had a deadline that preceded the release of the textbook, putting our staff in a difficult position. If they waited, it would be too late to obtain the resources necessary to approve it for the year. My hope is that we discuss these kinds of obstacles in the future so we can adjust the timeline and find creative ways to get the resources we need without having to rush the process. I'm glad we were able to do that by holding the funds necessary in the budget while we carry out this process. I appreciate the way we were all able to come together on this, and I'm looking forward to getting a great proposal together for our students. Thank you to Dr. Scheid and Mr. Vaverka and your team for your dedication. I know we all want the best for our students. With regard to the replacement of our solicitor and our board president, the board's own policies make clear that the solicitor and the board president serve at the pleasure of the board and are subject to replacement. The votes to do so were public and took place after public comment was solicited. The role of the board president is to facilitate board decisions and directions. The majority of the board felt new leadership was needed to carry out those decisions. The role of the solicitor is extremely important. The solicitor is responsible for the day-to-day legal advice that guides and protects the district. The majority of the board felt the district would be best served by expanding the services of a firm we already have a relationship with and whom we have full confidence in to handle important legal matters as they arise. This firm has a history of assisting districts through difficult transitions, which has been helpful to Pennridge while we interview to hire a permanent replacement. The board takes this role very seriously, and the cost of legal fees is an important component taken into account in this process. Keep in mind the hourly rate is not the only financial component taken into account when looking to hire a solicitor. The number of hours charged is another important component. Hiring an efficient attorney with the experience to handle matters quickly and accurately, and who recognizes what concerns need legal review and what concerns do not, also has a significant impact on legal fees. A secondary cost can be the fees associated with legal situations that arise if you are not given proper legal counsel. These are all important considerations taken into account in order to find the best fit for Pennridge. While everyone retains the right to disagree, please know that the volunteer members of the Board of School Directors have followed the law and have done their best to discharge their duties. On a more positive note, tonight we will vote on a contract for the next superintendent of Pennridge, Dr. David Bolton. As we move forward, I would like to thank Dr. Jacqueline Radigan for her dedication and hard work to the students of Pennridge. Over the last 5 years, we have seen Pennridge lead the way with our STEM program. We have jumped into 21st century learning with a great expansion of technology, including our own cyber courses, and a one-to-one program at the high school, which is now expanding to middle school. What I think she will be most remembered for is her focus on social and emotional learning of all students. We greatly appreciate your commitment to the students of Pennridge and wish you the best on your retirement. While we are in meetings preparing for the next school year, we will think of you enjoying your time at the beach. Hiring a new superintendent is arguably the most important job we will ever have as school board directors. I am incredibly proud of my colleagues on the board for the seriousness in which they took this process and their commitment to finding the ideal match for Pennridge. The Pennridge Board of School Directors sought the services of the Bucks County IU to guide us through this process of finding the next superintendent of Pennridge. There is a reason they conduct almost all superintendent searches in the county. They have this down to a science and provide tremendous support every step of the way. The Pennridge School District works hand in hand with the IU on a regular basis. They know us well and have a vested interest in the success of this district. Dr. Mark Hoffman, Rebecca Malamis, and Joanne Parati have been instrumental. We cannot begin to thank them enough. The board initially advertised for this position of school district superintendent on February 15th through March 12th. The district received 25 applications for the position. The board thoroughly reviewed all 25 applications and chose 12 to interview for initial first-round interviews. The first-round interviews were held over 2 evenings on April 3rd and April 4th. Following the first round of interviews, the board narrowed the applicant pool down to 4 candidates who returned for more thorough and comprehensive second-round interviews on April 12th. Following the second round of interviews, the board unanimously agreed to a finalist candidate, Dr. David Bolton, who was invited back for a final third-round interview on April 25th. Following the final interview process, an initial offer was made to Dr. Bolton, and his attorney worked with the interim solicitor for the district to secure an agreement for him to serve as Pennridge School District Superintendent. Dr. David Bolton exemplifies all of the characteristics set forth by the community and incorporated into our application and interview processes. His reputation precedes him. The board was impressed with not only his exceptional knowledge and experience at all levels of education, but also his honesty, integrity, analytical reasoning, receptiveness, passion for education, humor, work ethic, professionalism, fiscal sense, attention to detail, and dedication to family and community involvement. He is committed to educating the whole child and meeting the individual needs of each student in the most inclusive setting appropriate. Helping all students develop a personal connection to an extracurricular activity such as music, arts, sports, or other clubs is a strong ambition of his. Providing the information and supports needed for students to find and succeed in their chosen career paths, whether they are college-bound, learning a trade, or embarking on another journey, is another key focus of Dr. Bolton's. I have full confidence in his ability to bring even greater success to Pennridge for years to come. Tonight we welcome Dr. Bolton. His wife, Mary Catherine. His daughters, Rebecca, who's a junior at Elizabethtown. Elizabeth, who's a 9th grader. And one of his sons, Daniel, who's a freshman at Drexel. His other son, Stephen, who's a freshman at Delaware, I'm told better be studying for his finals on Monday night and won't make the meeting tonight. Superintendent's report.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Banis-Clemens. First, I'd like to thank the West Rock Hill Elementary School for the district office meeting room display. Also, a special thank you to the PMA for a donation of $1,000 for the band trailer. Our Takes Pride theme for the month of June will be esteem building. Students will be reminded that the definition of esteem building is to honor ourselves or another for having a particular positive quality. When an individual has a high self-esteem, he or she has self-respect and self-confidence. We esteem others when we have a high opinion and appreciation of them. We can always find something positive about ourselves and others. And I have some points of pride tonight. While his classmates at Penn North are winding down the school year, 7th grader Nicholas Zotto is cranking up his acting career. At this moment, Nick is in New York to begin filming a movie called The Kitchen with Melissa McCarthy. The Kitchen is a classic gangster story that follows a group of Irish mobsters sent to prison. Their wives take over the jailed spouse's organized crime operation to become the most ruthless and powerful gangsters in 1970s Hell Kitchen. Nick plays Melissa McCarthy's character son and figures prominently in the story. This will be Nick's 4th movie in an acting and modeling career that began when he was 6 months old, but first such a prominent role. At age 3, he was the face of Crayola crayons and some marketing and packaging materials. Nick is in the gifted program at North, is a member of the band, basketball, and baseball teams. We can't wait to see Nick on the big screen. Congratulations to our students who participated in Minithon this year and raised more than $62,000 for the 4 Diamonds Fund that supports children battling pediatric cancer. The year-long fundraising effort culminated early this month with a 10-hour marathon of dancing, games, and activities. The $62,000 raise far exceeded their goal of $45,000. Congratulations to the Pennridge High School Orchestra on its rating of superior from the Music in the Parts program at Hershey. Congratulations to the boys track team and coaches Hosier, Wills, Kohler, and Plawa on their undefeated season and on winning the conference championship. And next I have a couple of alumni notes. Richard Curtis, class of 2005, is getting his own local TV show this fall. Rich gained fame 2 years ago as the winner of a co-host competition on Live with Kelly. Starting October 1st, Rich will host the Class H Room on Fox 29. The half-hour weekday game show will feature Philly area teachers battling against their students in trivia games and challenges. The audience, meanwhile, will consist of participants' friends, family, and classmates. Topics will include pop culture, history, math, science, and current events. Winners will receive monetary donations for a school club of their choice. Meanwhile, the high school recently added 2 new members to its Wall of Fame. Kurt Kelly, class of 1968, and Dr. Michael Gummert, class of 1993, joined other distinguished grads on the wall for their outstanding accomplishments. Kurt is owner of the Stonewall Inn in Greenwich Village, the site of the riots in 1969, that many feel launched the LGBTQ movement. In June 2016, then-President Barack Obama established a 7.7-acre area around the site as the Stonewall National Monument, America's first LGBTQ national park site. Dr. Gummert is a nationally known expert and researcher focused on long-tailed macaques, a primate native to Southeast Asia. He currently serves as a professor of psychology at Nanyang Technological University in Singapore. So our current students and former students continue to do wonderful things. That's my report tonight. Mrs. Banisman.
Thank you, Dr. Redigan. Okay, committee reports. Activities is next. Mrs. Cullen?
Thank you, Mrs. Vance Clemens. For the Activities Committee report, we have the minutes of the April 30th meeting, which I know we don't normally do approvals of minutes, but I was wondering if we should.
I'm sorry, is there, this is an informational item. You'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes? Is that what you'd like to do?
In other organizations, they do approve minutes, so I was just curious if we should do this.
If the president wishes to entertain a motion to approve the minutes, the president may do so.
I think it's a good idea.
Okay, well then I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the April 30th, 2018 Activities Committee meeting.
I'll second that.
Okay, moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Where's the comment?
No comment. No.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Questions or comments from board members?
Yeah, so when were we told that we were going to be, like, approving minutes? So,
She just made the comment.
It's just something that, as I said, in other organizations, they routinely approve. I don't know why that's so shocking, Mrs. Yardley, honestly, but in other organizations, they routinely approve minutes, and I just thought I would ask if we should approve our minutes. That's all. It's not something that's uncommon. We can or we can't. It's not a big deal to me. I just thought I would ask.
Well, there's a motion, just as the parliamentarian, there's a motion and a second on the floor, and this is the time for comment. Mrs. Yardley has made an appropriate comment. You've made an appropriate response to that comment, and so the question is, are there any more comments?
yeah, I just, yeah, I'm not saying it's a big deal, as you say. It's just that I think people should have been, yeah, told of the plan.
It wasn't a plan. I just asked Dr. Price. I said, you know what? It just occurred to me we don't approve minutes. Would you like me to have the minutes approved? It's nothing nefarious underfoot or afoot here. I'm just making a motion. Again, if you don't want to vote for it, that's fine. It's not uncommon. It's not a big deal. I'm not sure why it's causing such controversy, honestly, but.
Any other questions or comments from board members? Okay, then I'll call the vote. Those in favor? Aye. Those opposed?
I'm going to abstain.
Okay. Motion carries 8-1, or 8-0-1.
Okay, and then the next item is approval of overnight field trips, items A through E. And I would propose that we approve those all in one motion unless anyone wants to pull something out.
Okay, motion's been made. Is there a second? Second. Okay, seconded by Mrs. Dolan. Comments or questions from board members? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 9-0.
Okay, and I don't have any other items for activities, and I don't see that the next meeting has been scheduled.
Thank you, Mrs. Cohen. Okay. Next committee report is curriculum. Mrs. Yardley?
Okay, the curriculum committee met last Monday on May 7th. The minutes have not been posted yet. They will be, Dr. Scheid, right? So that was my delay. Dr. Scheid sent them to me, and I sent, so I believe she posted them this morning, but they'll be up in a day or two.
Thank you, Mrs. Yardley. Yes, they were posted this morning.
Okay. So they don't appear there, but, so we met, we discussed with two motions from that meeting, the biographies and the donors choose. So I'd like to make a motion to approve biographies as the genre for the summer reading requirement for high school students.
Okay, do you have a motion? Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, seconded by Mrs. Kildare. Questions or comments from board members? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries 9-0.
Okay, next, I would like to make a motion to approve a donors choose request from Ms. Kristen Otto, first grade teacher at Sellersville Elementary School.
Okay, motion from Mrs. Yardley. Do we have a second? I'll second. Seconded by Mrs. Cullen. Questions or comments from board members? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 9-0.
Okay, the next curriculum committee meeting is June 11th. It will be at 7:30 p.m. after the technology meeting.
Thank you, Mrs. Yardley. Okay, the facilities committee met on February 5th. I'm sorry, May 2nd. I'm putting on backwards. I guess I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the facilities committee, or since we made a motion for the other one. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, moved by Mrs. Banis Clemens, seconded by Mrs. Cullen. Are there questions or comments from board members? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 9-0. Okay, the next motion is... The next motion is to approve obsolete items A through D. Do I have a second? Okay, moved by Mrs. Banis Clemens, seconded by Mr. Kraus. Do we have comments or questions from board members? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries 9-0. Next is the Finance Committee report. Dr. Yarnell?
Thank you, Mrs. Banis Clemens. We too have minutes from the May 2nd, 2018 meeting. Since we're starting a precedent here, I will move that we approve those minutes.
Second.